Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Brute force gets you up to a certain point. From then on, if you want to control a situation, if you want to change people's behavior, you have to apply something smarter than that. That works with children, that works with organizations. Smoother, more of a weasel talk works further, gets you further than a beating or a violent outburst. You're gonna create an environment of hatred. The other side will definitely try to get you, by all means. So what do we have here? I'm going to show you a few examples of how the United States of America embraced for a long time, but it had to change its behavior since 1945 until about 1991. It had to embrace more than brute force, and that is diplomacy. So I'm going to show you why I think the new club, the bad club that we're supposed to hate, but they are our competitors, they employ a certain kind of attitude and build relationships on mutual respect as of now and equality, versus the other one, which is Al Capone, hurting, threatening, and so on. First, when you have a child, you have full control of the child. You're the parent. Now you can choose just to smack the child, yell at the child, explain to the child, or fool the child. You have many methods of, making the child do what you want the child to do. I'm talking about the difference in power, in strength, parent versus a child, a toddler or something like that, or maybe a 7-year-old, 6-year-old. Now, the United States of America uses the threats and the smacks, and the Russians, the Chinese, and Indians, as of now, use cooperations. Talk as equal. Now, I'm not suggesting you should talk to a child as an equal, but you can easily smack the child, and the child could do what you tell him to do, or her. So what's going on here? Let me show you Putin's meeting with Vucic, the president of Serbia. Serbia is a small country. Is under attack from the good guys. Then Putin meets Prime Minister Fico of Slovakia in China, both of those guys in China. Then you have Mr. Fico telling Putin that I'm going to go and talk to Zelenskyy, which he will, after he meets Putin, and he's going to tell Zelenskyy to do something. Zelenskyy will not listen to him. Then Zelenskyy is going to meet the European Union leaders. I think it's on the 7th, let me see, on the 4th, where is it? On Thursday. So this Thursday, he's going to meet them and put together another set of threats against Russia, I guess. And then I'm going to show you how Trump sees a big country as Russia, important country as Russia, one of the big, I would say 3 on this planet, 5, how many you want, being more inclusive. He considers, as I said before, considers Russia and Zelenskyy, or Putin and Zelenskyy, as children. And he is the parent who has to straighten them out. This is the attitude, the arrogant attitude to someone or some entity with a delusional, very far away from the potential, the reality. That's one. And the other one, Trump is very upset, and I'm going to show you how he's going to treat India. So he's very upset with India, with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, because he held hands with Putin, the President of the Russian Federation. Both nuclear power countries, economies, military, nuclear weapons, as I said. One is 1.4 billion people, 1.4 billion people. The other ones are 145 million people. The United States is about 330 million people, double the Russian Federation. But this is, and Trump is going to talk to India like he talks to children. Who wants to be in this kind of relationship? Why would other countries and other leaders behave like this? I tell you, because of the brute force. And that gets you to where? You're going to be isolated and everybody else will going to gang together on you. Like exactly what's going on with BRICS organization and with Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They ganged on these guys. And what do these guys do? Continue to talk like they're in charge. Let's start with Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia. He traveled to Beijing. All right. Ukrainská pravda. Slovak Prime Minister meets with Putin in Beijing. This is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Now, I don't know why he needs the translation. I know they understand one another. If he speaks Slovakian and he speaks Russian, I know for a fact that they understand. Yeah, there's some little, but it's better with translation. You don't want to miss the exact message. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has begun a meeting with Russian ruler Vladimir Putin in Beijing. So they still call Fico Prime Minister still. Ukrainská pravda, the Ukrainians. And they also call Ukraine Zelensky as the Ukrainian president. Right, Ukrainian president, they still call this imbecile Zelensky as the Ukrainian because he's Ukrainian and he's the president. There's two lies, for me at least. He's Ukrainian as I am Zimbabwean, and he's the president and I am, in charge of the International Kyokushin Karate Organization. Nevertheless, let's go back here. So here you have, one is still prime minister until they're going to decide to call him a strong man or something like that. And this guy obviously is the ruler. Always watch Putin when he talks with other people while sitting down. He holds the arm of the armchair. Watch that. All right? Just an observation. Why? If you want to interpret it, he doesn't want to be there. TASS, a Kremlin-aligned Russian news outlet and other news Russian media outlets published material from the start of the meeting between Slovak and Russian leaders in Beijing, where Putin is on a 4-day visit. Putin spoke with the Pakistani Prime Minister. He spoke with Indian Prime Minister. He spoke with President of China. He spoke with many others as an equal, and not like this guy Trump compares Zelensky and Putin to children. Well, with that attitude, that tells me that he thinks he's in charge. Fico is the only leader from a European Union member state present in the Chinese capital. The Russian media Novosti reported that their conversation began with Fico asking Putin how he was feeling. "If I'm alive, that's already good enough," Putin answered. In addition to him, Turkish president, again, he met Erdogan as well, has already held talks with Putin, and Serbian President Aleksandar Vucic also plans to do so. Right? And then he says, Robert Fico stated that after his talks with Putin and his return to Slovakia, he would meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Right there, you got it? And we have this. Russia values Slovakia's independent foreign policy, pursued by Prime Minister Fico. Putin says, good. I think that's the way it should be pursued by every country. Russia values it. All right, we really appreciate independent foreign policy. Next. Kiev joining NATO unacceptable, Mr. Fico says. Well, Mr. Fico, he is on the regime change list for some time in Europe and America. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in China to discuss bilateral issues and the Ukraine conflict. Ukraine is free to pursue EU membership, but it cannot be allowed to join NATO. Slovak Prime Minister Fico said during a bilateral meeting with Russian President. Do you think that when this guy is going to show up with, if he meets Zelensky and he tells Zelensky that, do you think Zelensky is going to... Zelensky behaved with Trump, this guy right here, all right, who compares Putin and Zelensky as children. He behaved with this like a thug. Do you think he's going to behave with, with this guy as a normal human being? I don't think so. On one hand, we support Ukraine in its regard. But on the other hand, I have said since the very beginning that Ukraine cannot become a member of NATO. This is my final decision, he said. All right, next one. Slovak Prime Minister says he will meet with Zelensky after talks with Putin in China. All right. And then we have Slovak discuss strikes on Russian energy with Zelensky. So he would like to talk with that guy with this, what is it? This guy right here, look at his face. It's very trustworthy. I don't have any money to change. Stay there, okay? Bazaar. Okay. So he intends to talk to discuss energy strikes on Russian energy with Zelensky. Why? Because Ukraine struck the Druzhba pipeline in Russia 3 times, stopping the oil coming to Zelensky, to Slovakia and Hungary, and the Hungarians call it a attack on Hungarians or Hungary's sovereignty. I'm gonna talk to him. He's gonna say, beat it, we are at war, we have to react. That's it. Or self-defense, as they say in the Middle East. Russia respects Serbia's independent political course under Vucic, Putin. This is 36 minutes ago. So the meeting took place in China. Held a meeting, Putin and Serbian president, on Tuesday. Strategic partnership between Russia and Serbia brings positive results to both Russia and Serbia. Russia respects independent political course pursued by Serbia under leadership of Vucic. High-level cooperation with Russia is important for Serbia, Vucic said. Got it? Putin is on a 4-day pakaraka takamaka. Good, man. Good. They are independent, sovereign. They should do this. And you say, well, there should be consequences. Well, you can provide the consequences, but based on the consequences that you choose to apply to someone who did something to you, tells a lot about you, about your way of thinking. All right? So I think Vucic, again, they tried to get him out. They've been trying already for some time. And now let's go to Zelensky, because Zelensky is going to meet the European leaders. Who are they? The guys in charge of the garbage in Ukraine, right here. Zelensky to meet EU leaders in Paris on Thursday for Ukraine security talks. Without Russia, this is nothing. Oh, here they try to play important. Where is your cocaine, mister? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet the European leaders in Paris on Thursday, September 4th, as part of renewed international efforts to end Russia's Tipaka-Tsaka-Maka-Laka. All right. The discussions will be focused on security guarantees for Ukraine and ways to push forward diplomacy, given Moscow's continued attempt to stall negotiations. And you already know the Russians are bad. We are good, man. We are good. We are good. And the next one, here it is. Zelensky to join European leaders meeting in Paris, says Agence France Press. So they're going to meet, and there's once again diplomacy and all that. And we have to go to Trump. Trump compares Zelensky and Putin to children and says maybe they have to fight a little longer. That's because he failed with the art of the deal. President Donald Trump compared Zelensky and Putin to children when asked about potential meeting between the two leaders. In an Oval Office interview on Friday with the Daily Caller, Trump responded to questions about his talks with Putin and Zelensky this month to end the war in Ukraine. When asked what he and Putin disagreed about during their summit in Alaska earlier this month, Trump told the outlet that the two of them got along and suggested the war may continue a little longer. And this is what he says. I don't know. We got along, he said. You saw it. We've had a good relationship over the years, very good actually. That's why I really thought we could have this done. I would have loved to have had it done. Maybe they have to fight a little longer, just like keep fighting. Stupidly, keep fighting. Then Trump compares Zelensky and Putin to children fighting on a playground, noting he isn't sure a bilateral meeting between the two leaders will happen. The president previously said he was arranging for Putin and Zelensky to meet and that he would join them for a trilateral summit afterward. And this is what he said. A trilateral would happen. A bilateral, I don't know about that. But a trilateral will happen, Trump said. But sometimes people aren't ready for it. I use the analogy. I've used it a couple of times. If you have a child and there's mothers and there's another child in the lot, in the playground, and they hate each other and they start swinging, and you want to stop them, and they keep going. Well, it's not about, the hatred is not between the Ukrainians necessarily and the Russians. He continued, after a little while, they are very happy to stop. Do you understand that? It's almost that way. Sometimes they have to fight for a little bit before you can get them to stop. But this has been going on for a long time. A lot of people are dead. A lot of people are dead in Gaza, Mr. President. A lot of them, including a lot of media people and children and so on. So I don't hear you do anything about it. Why is that? We all know why. All right, and that's one. Now you can say, well, Zelensky is a baboon over there. The other guy is in charge of a nuclear power. So maybe you should talk differently. But he had a good relationship with Putin. You have to give him that. And then we go to how he's going to talk with Modi, the Prime Minister of India. It's very interesting why. India is a nuclear power, again. Ukraine is not. All right, here it is. He's upset with India. Trump lashes out after Putin and Modi are seen holding hands. Or Daily Mail, hand in hand, Trump rages as Putin and Indian Prime Minister Modi cozy up hand in hand an anti-NATO summit. Do you see how these guys reported anti-NATO summit? Well, I have to tell these imbeciles in Daily Mail that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is not a military organization. It's an economic one. All right. So the same as is BRICS. BRICS are not military organizations. NATO is. So you can call it maybe, I don't know, G7 if you want, or something like that. I don't know, but not NATO. But this is Daily Mail. What do you expect? So let's see what Trump said about it. And he posted something on Truth Social. That's what he did. All right. It was a clear mission accomplished when the President fumed over America's one-sided disaster of relationship with India in a post on Truth Social. Why? Your attitude, man. If you start with the attitude with I'm the daddy and you are the kids, that's it. This is what he said. What few people understand is that we do very little business with India. Why? You don't produce shit. The Indians don't. Remember? Maybe you don't. At one point, Trump told the Germans, why don't you buy our stuff? You don't buy our stuff. Only we buy your stuff. And I think that then, I can't remember who said it. He said, well, because we don't need anything you have to offer. We have it. We don't need it from you. So build better maybe, cheaper, and then, or less expensive, and then we're going to probably buy it if we need it. So the same here. We do little business with India. But they do a tremendous amount of business with us. That means they sell their thing to us, we don't to them. In other words, they sell us massive amounts of goods. Their biggest client. But we sell them very little. Because you don't produce anything, you produce services. Until now, a totally one-sided relationship, and it has been for many decades. Alright, so what does that mean? Change the behavior. He's not going to change the behavior. He's going to continue the same kind of behavior of threats. You do what I tell you, otherwise I will smack you. Instead of saying, well, why is it so? Is it because we are bad? We are not producing things? We can't compete? Remember, the fact that the Americans are selling their liquefied natural gas in Europe is not because they outperformed the competition. No, they banned the competition, which is the Russian cheap gas pipeline gas, let's put it this way, cheap. They made the European sanction themselves, and then they say, oh, we need gas. Well, we're going to give it to you. Why? So the Russians cannot blackmail you. But you know who can? We can. So this is how they compete nowadays. This is the American capitalism. When I lived in the communist Romania, and even after, we are told about American capitalism, and all the propaganda from outside bombarding the imbeciles over there with, oh, the Americans, the freedom, capitalism. What communism? I don't like communism. But certain things have to be socialist in a country. They have to be. Like, for instance, I'm all for medical, covered I mean, if you're a country, if you're a tribe, what do you mean? Pension. If you worked, you have to receive enough pension to have a nice, good life when you you retire. These things are not covered in America, the civilized country. I'm okay with working. You deserve to have medical, but even then, you work and you got this plan, and every time you pay. Every time you pay. I am insured and have medical insurance where every time I fucking pay. I don't know, I have a ball removed, I fucking have to pay, but I'm insured. I have medical insurance. How? I don't know, part of my heart disappears. Again, I'm insured, but I have to pay. How is that? What the hell is... And I work. Now, imagine someone who doesn't work. Is he going to die in the street? Yeah. Or going to go show up at the emergency, they're going to take care of him like this, and we pay. We pay. All right, so change behavior. What do you think this guy is going to change behavior? Producing better? No, he's going to try to do like the mafia does. Try to eliminate competition through illegal methods. Or something it is shady. Like imposing sanctions on those guys cannot sell their gas in the European market, therefore we can. Without them banning the competition, we sell a more expensive product and not better than the other one. And that's exactly what they want to do with India. Don't buy Russian oil. We're going to provide you maybe with that at extra price. Remember, look at the map and see where India is, and look where Russia is, and look at the United States of America is. Only the transport would fuck you up. Besides the cost of production, extraction, and so on. Well, my friends, here it is. A different attitude. And once these guys are changing their attitudes, at least for a while, until they eliminate competition, the competition already is with a guard right here, and they know exactly how you perform, which is threats, blackmail, regime change, and direct bombardments. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.